Meredith, morning to you. Let's talk
Good
through
morning.
various aspects of this, shall we? Let's start with a $10 million PR campaign for the teaching profession. What do you make of that?
Well, look, I think, first of all, the overall plan is a good initial step to look at the issue of teacher shortages across the nation. I don't think the plan itself will resolve all of the issues we have, but it is a good first step. And, obviously, advertising, promoting our profession is one small aspect of that plan.
One of the major things that I know you talk to people about a lot is the workloads that teachers face. It's not a 9 to 3 job, it's all encompassing. What can be done to reduce workloads?
Yeah, look, workload is one of the critical issues. It's not the only issue, but it's certainly one of the critical issues which we know our members are saying is driving them out of the profession. And I think it's also discouraging new entrants coming into the profession as well. We need significant investment, not only from the federal government, but also from our state and territory governments across the country to address this issue. And there's no one kind of magic moment that will resolve this, but there are a range of strategies, I think, that can be put in place. We need to address the administrative and accountability workloads that drag teachers away from the most important work they do, and that is the planning, the preparation for their classrooms when they're actually teaching students and delivering a high quality education. We need additional support in our schools to support teachers, whether that's education support staff, allied health professions. We're dealing with very complex and diverse needs in our schools. We have a lot of kids who have additional needs, and we simply don't have the resources that we need to provide for all of those students, and that consequently means teachers are trying to fill gaps and consequently doing excessive and unsustainable work.
Does it mostly, Meredith, come down to money? If there was more money in the system, you could employ support staff, you could employ more teachers. Is it mostly down to money?
It is mostly down to money. Our public schools in this country are not funded to the schooling resource standard, the standard that the federal government has set to educate every child, regardless of where they go to school. Public school students are funded below that standard. In my state of Victoria, for example, only to 90%, when we know most of our independent and Catholic and other private schools are already funded at 100%. So we're behind the 8 ball in that regard, and our public school students deserve better. And the way to make sure that we've got the allied health professionals we need, psychologists, speech therapists, and so on, and also giving teachers time to do the most important work, and that is when they're in their classroom delivering the best and highest quality education they can. They need time to do that preparation, planning, assessing their student work. And without the additional teachers, without additional support staff, without removing the administrative and accountability burden to some degree, then teachers will always be pressed for time.
Yeah. Is there enough teachers, junior trainee teachers coming through the system though?
Well, not at the moment, and that, of course, is one of the key issues in this plan. How do we attract new people into our professions? You've obviously got to address the workload issues at the same time. Importantly, the federal government has, in the most recent budget, allocated money for additional university, Commonwealth-funded university places in education, and also providing bursaries for both students coming out of school and completing a 4-year degree, and also those looking to career change. So they're important incentives, I think, to encourage people to come into our profession. But this plan is all about making sure that we look at all options available. And I think one of the most critical things that the Education Minister is doing nationally is that this plan is being put out to the profession and the community for consultation. That's the first time, as long as I can remember, that the teaching profession has been directly consulted about issues which impact on our profession, and I think that's a really significant move by the Education Minister.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's been a slow burn thing, hasn't it? I mean, COVID has not helped at all with what has happened within the teaching profession. We've now got a cost of living crisis. This is going out to consultation. Do you not feel a bit sorry for the kids that are currently in an education system that has these wealth of problems?
Oh, I do. We've got a generation of children. If we go back 10 years when the original Gonski funding deal was put in place, we've had, a child who's in year 10, for example, this year will have gone through their whole schooling without being funded appropriately in a public school. That means we've lost a whole generation of kids who haven't got that additional support that they're entitled to and that they deserve, to give them an equal opportunity for the education they're entitled to. The longer this goes on in terms of inadequate funding in our public schools, the longer we will have the difficulties we confront now, which are contributing to the workforce shortages, which are contributing to the stress and burnout in our existing teaching workforce. And they are really important issues that finally we have a federal government who, after 10 years of, quite frankly, neglect by the former Liberal governments, we have a government that's prepared to talk to the teaching profession about these issues directly and talk to them about what are the solutions that need to be put in place to address these important issues.
Meredith Peace from the Australian Education Union, thank you very much.
Thanks, Lorna.